Gaming NBS episode 232. Being recorded on GM's Day, March 4th, 2019. Welcome to Gaming NBS, a tabletop RPG podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Welcome to the show, folks. Welcome back. Glad everybody's here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing better than the last time I was on.
Yeah, you sound like complete hell.
Yeah, my wife's got the...
I was going to say, did you give it to Tam?
My wife, so she has no spleen, so she's very conscious of getting sick because your immune system gets compromised without a spleen. And she's like, when I'd go to bed, she's like, you have to stay turning away from me.
Face the other way.
Face the other way.
You plague-bearing son of a bitch.
Don't breathe on me. And now she's like, I know what you did. In the middle of the night, if I turned towards you, you waited till my mouth was open, and then you sneezed right into it. Right. Yeah, that's what I did.
There's a level of timing.
That's what I do at 3 a.m. It's turn over.
If somebody who's feeling horribly ill and whatever, there is a desire to find someone that you could lynch. So I understand where she's. I have been that sick before, where you wish and hope that you could find the plague bearer and burn them.
I have a method of kicking shit. Like, people have their old remedies and stuff. I have my own, and frankly, it's I think a little less than a week. I'm okay. I'm not achy.
Do we want to know what this is, Sean, or
No.
is this borderline illegal?
I've got just a little bit of congestion.
Okay.
And I have to cough every once in a while, but I'm for the most part, man, I am, like, comparatively speaking, 100% turnaround.
Huh.
But so you got to just, what I do is you got to drink this. Some of this is no brainer stuff.
Okay.
You just got to drink the shit ton of liquids.
Okay.
You do the chicken noodle soup thing.
Got it.
You eat kind of normal as your appetite is
Allows.
good.
Okay.
But you sweat you just sweat.
Okay.
So I would, if I were to go to work or if I sleep at night, I'd put on like 2 layers of clothes. So when I get up in the morning, this dude is
you're just a ball of sweat.
A ball of sweat, man.
So your wife in close proximity in the bed,
yes,
is waking up next to a man who has been secreting plague-ridden sweat germs into the bed.
Well,
and she wonders why she may be sick.
Well, what she usually does is
you marinated your wife in your germs.
What she usually does, though, after I'm sick, is she usually goes and burns everything.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the only way to be sure.
She goes and washes everything, and I mean she just goes.
We learned this from Aliens, right? You nuke the site from orbit, it's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, but seriously, like I would put on sweatpants, t-shirt, sweatshirt, actually a hooded sweatshirt. I'd wear a hat to bed with socks, and I'd be under a sheet, a blanket, and a comforter, and that blanket is electric.
I can't sleep like that, dude.
Oh,
no
dude.
fucking way.
It's uncomfortable as hell, but I'll tell you what, when you wake up, you're like, whoa. It's like coming out of a sauna.
So before we move on, I do feel I need to say that any of the aforementioned remedies, tonics, Poultice, or whatever else.
Guaranteed to work.
Yeah. Oh, God, he said it. He said it.
Guaranteed.
All right, let's move on to other stuff.
Or your money back.
Oh, there you go. What do you want for nothing?
How can you tune into an RPG podcast and get this quality of content? We're like health conscious here.
We are health conscious.
Now I'm telling you how you can make your next game when you're feeling under the weather. And the trick is to do this as soon as you feel it coming on. Like if you're like, ooh, there's a sniffle, or ooh, there's that itch in the back of my throat.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
You go full sweat lodge.
Yeah, man. Sweat lodge it to death. And every night until you feel comfortable that it's gone.
And then burn the remains.
And rest, like sleep all the time. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Sleeping on the couch, sweating.
Sleep at your desk at work, sweating.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to announcements. Sean and I will be at GaryCon, which is this next Thursday and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. Holy shit. I'll be rolling in Wednesday evening. Sean, you coming Thursday morning, or what are you doing?
Thursday morning's the plan.
Awesome.
Yeah. As long as my wife's feeling under the weather, she's trying to get me to.
If I don't see you Thursday, I will tell people you've died. No, I'm kidding.
I got a game to be at.
I know you do. It's probably that special ticket I got for you.
Is it Thursday? I don't know if that's Thursday.
Could be Friday. So that's happening. Next time we get together to record, we'll probably do a little post Gary Con, how it all went and so forth. But let's see here. Awesome Dice. So did you pick a winner?
I did pick a winner, Brett. This month, for the month of February, the winner of a set of awesome dice from awesomedice.com is Nathan Panke. All right. Congratulations, Nathan. I will reach out to you to ensure that it's okay to pass along your email, and then Brandon from Awesome Dice will reach out to you and arrange delivery of your new set of awesome dice. Thanks for subscribing to the newsletter, Nathan. So if you want to win, I think we're going to the June timeframe. You sign up at our email list at gamingnbs.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be automatically entered to win a free set of dice. But in addition to that, you can go to their website at awesomedice.com, place an order for anything $10 or more, enter promo code GamingBS, and you'll get 15% off your order.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Let's see. Shall we? I think that's about it. Let's random encounter the sucker up.
Yeah. Randoms encounters.
You ready?
I'm ready if you are, man.
I'm ready. Emails, voicemails, smoke signals, however people get hold of us.
Yeah.
Email from the Monger. Hey guys, Monger back again to answer this question you asked last podcast. This dude is on top of his game. And I feel I might have a thought to add. To answer your question, I think GMs can be a good player in the game. And this is why, besides being able to help new players that are not familiar with the game system by sitting them next to GM player. The GM player can quietly coach the new player on basic questions they might have about the game system. I know this might be a little underhanded in a way, but when I take a break from GMing, I like to show by example how I think a player should act as the player. By not undermining the GM that gave me problems when he was a player, making sure I respond to all emails quickly when the GM sends them out. Monger, you're a scholar and a gentleman. Being early to the game, make sure I'm prepared and stay off my phone and play the game with them and not try to outthink the GM. Stay in the moment. Enjoy the time as a player again. Get re-energized to GM again, because I know when I play in a group where we each get a chance to GM, the shoe will be on the other foot sooner rather than later. For me, the first game I heard that uses zones is in Fate Core. Zones can be as big as you want them to be. I use a combo of zones and ranges to help understand better placement on the theater of the mind or battle mat. This can help gamers understand what it would take to get from one zone to the next, or from being in the zone to being in melee range. I sometimes will do a very rough drawing of what they can see in the next zone to help stop questions like where they can take cover in the room and so forth. Monger. It's very cool.
Yeah, thanks, Monger.
Good stuff. I like the. I don't know enough about Fate, so that's interesting that it's in there. Okay, cool. I'll have to do some digging. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Over to you, sir.
Matt V comments on playtesting this week. I listen to another podcast with speakers occasionally, and they made some good points on a play test panel. Some of these you touched on, but I'd like to expand. 1, it won't ever be perfect. You will be better off getting a mediocre product out than never putting out the perfect product. Oh, yeah. That's true, double true.
Amen to that, man.
Which leads to 2. With today's era of crowdsourcing, for most indie designers, you're better off funding a project and releasing a semi-finished but unpolished product to your backers. Then you can revise it for 6 to 9 months while taking in feedback from your community. These are all people who have a vested interest in your game and want it to succeed. Then you can have them send feedback and you can make it better. Even some big guys like Paizo do this, and this can be invaluable for small guys because we don't have the budget or resources to do a massive playtesting. It can also give you a small cash infusion, which you may or may not need. This can also generate interest for your game, which can generate more sales, and you can even do a second round of Kickstarters if enough interest is generated. You could also just give the playtest out for free, but I don't think that works as well. Someone with a little skin in the game is more likely to find time to implement it and has some skin in the game. 3, you can use this to help you. You can use this to help you create a community. For a small game publisher, the only real way to make it is to generate a few thousand, or more if you're lucky, of dedicated fans who will eagerly buy everything you put out and help promote it. If you can get up to 2,000 fans and count on them buying a $10 product from you once a quarter, you just made a decent little business and will do better than 90% of game designers out there. Guys like Luke Crane and Monty Cook's entire business is built on this community-adoring fan structure. And I totally agree. And if you don't know who Seth Godin is, read his book on tribes. And moving on to number 4. That last part was me. If you're going to do this, make sure you will be able to get out a finished product on the time scale you recommend, or at least close to it. It will ruin your reputation, and unless you are big, likely your career. Despite doing quite well with this model, Monty Cook has many complaints about their Kickstarter to production time. Granted, they always get put out, but sometimes it's months or even over a year past time, while in the meantime, they are doing more Kickstarters and starting more projects. Obviously, he does something right, but I don't think many other people could get away with that. There's a lot of people that get away with a lot of things that are, it's because of who they are.
Yeah, or they got away with it one last time, Far West, and can't get away with it again. Because at some point, you will cross a bridge that you can't get back over.
That's true. Can't do it too many times.
No, you cannot.
Anyway, great episode. I just wanted to point out with the internet today, I think game designers should focus on community building as much as the actual play testing, and involving your client base is a great way to do it.
I like this point. One of the things, Matt, I want to call out is the second piece, the crowdsourcing, doing Kickstarter and then revising it. You need to have a very strict, in my opinion, a time constraint that everybody knows. Like, look, you can do this. I will have 3 revisions, and the final revision is here. That published timeline, the drop dead date for feedback or whatever, you got to have it. This was one of my larger complaints about Blades in the Dark, was when I backed that, it just seemed to be revision, 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 revision. I did not fully understand, I don't think it was explained very well, that he was going to be revising that game, what I considered ad nauseum. It was my preference is something pretty damn close to done. That's I had that as kind of a soft requirement, but that is now a no bullshit if you're not almost done. Like I was with my Avalon Kickstarter. Look, the book is done. It just needs art and layout, and then stretch goals, which we already had a number of those things started for different components to it. You've got to be in a really strong place, and if you're going to use your community to help you do this stuff, be very clear on when that ends, because immediately to your first point, you're going to be better off getting out a mediocre product than never getting one out. It won't be perfect, right? So don't assume that you can do that just forever, because at some point you will run into, hey, it's been a year. It's been a year and a half. When's the actual fucking game coming? So there we be.
Yeah.
All right, who we got up here next? Matt Martinez emailed us. I was recently reading an adventure. I'll avoid naming it because I don't want the writer to feel being called out. And there was a bit that kind of struck me. The scenario involves the player characters being hired to deliver a data pad. And the adventure specifies that should the PCs attempt to open or otherwise physically tamper with it, all the data is automatically erased and the mission is over. Is it just me, or is that poor adventure design? If the writer can anticipate the characters trying to tamper with the device, shouldn't they at least offer some ideas on how to keep things moving instead of effectively punishing the players by telling them game over? What do you folks think? Yeah, I think that's horseshit, Matt. That was like some of those old school adventures that, and we've talked about this for investigative stuff like Call of Cthulhu. Some people enjoy this, but if the only way to move something along is that one person finds the clue, or everybody makes a climb check, or they fall to their death, if that's what everyone signed up for, like, hey, look, I'm playing Dungeon Crawl Classics, and look, it was a total party kill. It is what it is. That's okay. But this isn't even a combat. This is just players being players and characters being characters, trying to figure things out. Yeah, I think that's a bad idea. Sean, what do you think? Give me contrary just to be contrary.
Well, I like to think that it's just not being contrary for contrary's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a counterpoint, I think.
Yeah, like what?
I think you should just kill the character that opens it up.
See, that would actually fly right into the, hey, how to keep things moving. That's the King in Yellow play. I read the play. You go mad and die. Oh, I should probably not read that. Next character. I want to read it. See if that happens to me. I go mad and die. Huh. Anybody else want to do that? Fuck no. How do we get rid of this thing?
I think I found
Guess what? Plot moves along.
I think I found my new con game.
Read it and die. That's the con game. There you go.
That's right.
But anyway, yeah, I think generally speaking, if you can, if within there say, hey, look, if you tamper with this thing in any way, the game is over. How about you just don't do that? So, Matt, I'm sorry, man. I have to agree with you. I shouldn't say I'm sorry. I have to agree with you, Matt. That's bad. That's a bad design choice.
Terrible. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a movie that prevents it.
A movie that prevents it?
I mean, a movie that prevents it. Maybe there's a movie that's like that.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
That I'm trying to think of a movie that would be similar to that.
I honestly don't know. If you're angling for something that I should remember, I honestly don't know.
I'm just trying to think of like a movie that's actually like, okay, you get a package and you're not supposed to look at it, and they go the entire movie and not look at it.
You like Pulp Fiction?
Well, I suppose Pulp Fiction is
the
one
characters
of them, right?
look at it, though. We don't. From the outside, you don't get to see it.
Oh, that's true.
The characters get to look at it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great design choice, but
No.
I mean, you could do other. I mean, you could write things into it.
Yeah, there's so many cooler things that could be done other than game over. If that's legitimately what it is, I'd be like, okay, so I anticipate the character probably want to get on the device. The device encrypts itself. I crack the encryption. Well, it encrypts itself again in a different language, or it does something different. It just is this Mobius strip of impossibility. Like, wow, this is really hardcore. You've got to have the Uber master key or something to get into this. Johnny Mnemonic or something. I mean, there's way better ways to do that than that way to go upon it. That just is terrible.
Yeah.
Because I can see that being, wow, this written adventure ended in 5 minutes. Why? Because my characters got the device and they opened it up, found it didn't work, hit it with a hammer, and then went off to kill orcs or whatever it is that they do. Oh, my God, that's terrible. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah. I'll have to find out what adventure that is.
I kind of want to know now.
All right.
So I wanted to check in, Sean. We both started some new campaigns not that long ago. I had a bit of a delay getting to my second session due to a big ERP cutover for the day job, but that's done and back in place. And we went, well, and this last weekend I ran my second session, and I kind of want to check in, see how the campaigns are going. And I was running a Pathfinder game in my Avalon setting, focused on the outlands of it, D&D, low magic-y type of thing. Sean, you were going to do a Star Wars bit. How's that going? Did you have a second session yet, or how far have you gotten, man?
No, I haven't. And March isn't being too friendly to us. So February had some things come up, and then, well, I'm like, oh, the 9th. Yeah, the 9th. Oh, no, the 9th is GaryCon. I can't do the 9th. And so I'm one of the guys was like, Sean, you should just put out a bunch of dates that you're going to be available, and we could just, set it, kind of know what's going on. So that's what I have to do is sit down and basically go, okay, I'm going to do, we're run on the 16th, March, whatever, or April, whatever, and just do like 3 Saturdays back to back. Now that's the Star Wars game. So I'm running 2 games currently.
True.
Yeah.
So interesting question for you, I guess. Excuse me. One of the things that we started doing, my buddy Alpha got a Google website
Yeah.
We used to use Google G Plus exclusively for notes and everything for that, but we mocked up it's a very simple UI. It's very easy to mess with for our different campaigns. Nick's got his out there. Alpha has his. I have mine. And I post up notes because there's links right to a Google Doc and so forth. And all of our scheduling is posted out there in a little calendar. Everybody looks, goes, yes, this is the date. I think, one, I have an advantage in the scheduling department because I've known these folks for over 20 years. So we know who we are, how we like to game, and so forth. I don't know if it's... I was thinking about this when you said that, because I know you're gaming online. Do you think it's actually harder to get people online to game than it is in person, or do you think it's about the same, just a different?
Yeah, I don't think it's any different.
No different? Okay.
No. I mean, we have the same. I think it's the same challenges or different challenges, but same kind of result as scheduling on-site face-to-face. So my other game, I mean, we'll literally schedule 4 months or 3 months, but we're only doing it once a month. So we just go through every Saturday in the month and say, okay.
Which one?
The 9th? No, I can't do the 9th. 16th? Maybe the 16th. I can't do the 16th. Well, okay, one person can't do the 16th. Everybody else can. Oh, what about 23rd or 20? Yeah. 26th or 20. I can't do math. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll all put it down. Oh, I got a birthday, but I don't have to leave till 6. Okay, great. So everybody, okay, now let's look at the next month. So we'll literally look at, we could have a game back-to-back weeks and then not play for
2 months.
Yeah, seven weeks.
Okay. Interesting. So one of the things that's happened in my home group is One Lip Gamers beta is he's not able to make it as often as everybody else.
I should back up.
So the agreement, sorry, go ahead.
Don't lose that thought.
I won't.
The only other thing is that when we do it face-to-face, I'm running and my buddy hosts.
Okay.
So if he can't make it, but I can, we still can't run.
But if he can, and you can, there's at least 2 of you.
That's right. Actually, and his wife.
So you got half a gaming group right there.
Exactly. So on the other side of online, and I'm the only one running, I mean, I may be the only person they need.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I run.
Because you're the only person anybody needs.
That's when I'm needed. See, it's a psychological thing. I have a lot of baggage, ladies and gentlemen.
So one of the things I've done, I've got one guy, beta, his schedule is more up in the air than anybody else's. So we pick a day and we pretty much just discount what beta can or can't do because it's always up in the air. However, it's accepted within the group that, look, if beta can make it, he'll have a character, great. He'll jump in and play. His character, beta's really good about it as a player. He plays support people. And he's totally fine if, look, I can't make it all the time. If I don't have super cool, intricate, moving plot forward-y things that last session to session, I'm fine with that. If I can have something really cool for this session, great. If I can't, it's on me that I can't be here all the time. So he takes that, what I think is pretty grown up, like, hey, look, it's on me that I'm not there. So, do what you got to do, and that's fine. Just keep gaming. Don't quit just because I can't be there. We do have some scheduling stuff where we work around my buddy Lenny with visitation with the kids and stuff. He's got to make sure he can get different places. And then we got to get, we have our own scheduling problems too. JR just got out of the hospital, so we're working all that. But overall, we go, hey, this day, good. If most of us can be there, we're ready to roll. And we usually pick, after the last game, we pick the next session for the next month. We can't go 4 months out like you can, but so far, scheduling's not been too bad. But again, I have an edge, much like you do with that group, with your Tomb of Annihilation group, is these people, and you've got a different rapport with them than you do like a larger online community.
Yeah. And that one, I'm gonna move forward rather briskly. I think in the upcoming meetings where it's gonna be, leveling up every session and then getting them to the real end.
Because are you thinking about doing a drop-in, drop-out thing? Because
I'm
of the
still,
scheduling? Sorry.
Well, I'm still wanting to do that. I may do that online, with that too. Is
Well, that's what I was talking about with your Star Wars thing. Should you run that drop in, drop out?
well, and it may end up being that way just because of somebody not being able to make it every single time we play, or Joe Swick's not being able to join, which I know he's not a big deal to him, but at the same time, but I think if I were to go that route, I would just go D&D. I don't know if it would be 5e, but it would be like old classics where it just didn't matter. I mean, they weren't at the previous adventure. They listen to something or read something to play catch up, and then they were there all this time or whatever.
There is something to be said for that. Certain games lend itself to that more so than others. It feels like to me anyway. I'm sure somebody out there could run a very intense champion superhero game and have drop in, drop out too. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think if you slice it, it doesn't really matter what game. I think it's just something that I would probably be used to, because I think we used to do that where it would be like,
a little more like, oh, this is familiar. I know how this works.
We're in the middle of it. I can't play. Well, I can, so let's just do it.
So here's a dwarf. I thought we had halfling. Fuck off. Here's a dwarf. You're off and running.
Right.
So, apart from your scheduling debacle, is anything going well with the Star Wars thing?
Oh, I think it's going well. It started out bumpy, but I think that now, the the four guys listening to this could be like, what in the hell is he talking? Is he even in the same game?
That game sucks. What the fuck is wrong with that
I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He's on a different plane of reality. Yeah, I mean, it did start out bumpy. That was to my detriment. I mean, for whatever reason, man, I just felt, I don't know if it was the time of day. I don't have any idea, but it was like, this is getting off to a rocky start. Now, after I get into it, it was fine. Maybe it's just when the chemicals in my body start working properly and I'm like alert and okay, then it's fine. So it was starting to get going okay, but.
Are the characters? So one of the things that I like to do with mine, I think I mentioned this before, is especially after the first level up or the first round of experience points or character points, whatever happens, is kind of after that first session, I guess is a better mile marker, where I look at the players and say, is there anything you want to change in your character? And Nick's character, he went through and goes, yeah, she needs to adjust because I did not take this. He didn't take combat casting. He's like, why do I not have combat casting? I completely missed that rule. And in Pathfinder, you'll get your ass beat if you don't have combat casting. It's super helpful. I got to take that. I'm going to drop this other thing. Can I do that? Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. And that happens a lot, especially when we're going back to a system we haven't played in a while or a brand new one. And you're like, wow, I really thought this worked this way. Or you're finding out that the way the campaign is laying out, wow, this feat or this thing I took means nothing. There's no connection to anything. I'd much rather do something different. On occasion, I have people say, I want to scrap this character and start over, but we haven't had that. But we did have some adjustments to player characters, just, we're not stats wise, but just some of the special skills or focuses and that type of thing. Do you do anything like that, Sean?
I let the players make the tweaks that they need to, for sure.
Do they have to ask you first or run it by you?
Well, yeah, I would hope that they would, instead of like changing their character every session. Like, oh, I dropped this so I could pick this up. Wait a minute, hold on a second.
Do you put a cap on it? Like, hey, after the first session, you're done. You've made your character. Now play with it.
No, but I haven't put a hard and fast down. But I think that if it was something where somebody was doing it pretty consistently, I'd have to say, hey, come on now, what are you doing over there? Like, I think after the first few sessions, once they kind of get into like, oh, I forgot combat casting, I put that on there. Oh, okay. And once they get to like third level, fourth level, I think
should be pretty well. They should be pretty solid at this point.
Yeah, they're either not wanting to play that character at all, or they've got it pretty much together.
Yeah, because at a certain point, you're like, look, you made the character, you got to run with it, man.
Yeah, or just we'll axe them off, and you can have a different one. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, walk them off to the sunset, man. We can do something different.
Yeah,
So I talked about this a little bit, where because Beta can't make his off, and we make kind of player adjustments. Is there anybody in the Star Wars game that needs to walk out and you're looking to replace them or anything like that? Any player adjustments? I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just wondering if that comes up, because I know it happens sometimes. We've got a game group and they had every intention of being there, new job, shift change, like, I can no longer make this. That happened when I started gaming online with Chris Nizak. We had Mark Napek, who was one of the original guys on the Misdirected Mark show ages and ages ago.
Misdirected Mark.
It was actually named after a bard spell, not Mark.
I know, but Mark was one of the.
He was the guy.
Final
So, but
founding
Napek couldn't
guys.
make it. He changed jobs, and he's like, look, I can't make the game anymore. I'm really sorry. So that's when Kevin came in. He couldn't make it. I knew Kev could play, and we got in. Have you had anything like that, or has it seemed pretty stable so far?
Stable so far.
That's good.
But that's still early. I mean, they haven't
Yes.
they haven't witnessed my awesome GMing skills, where they may just be like, "Hey, man,
Wow.
yeah, I'm busy next week and the
my
week
mom,
after
my mom
that."
has cancer suddenly. You know, matter of fact, I think I
That's
have
not
cancer.
funny.
I think I have cancer after your game. I'm sorry, but I have to go.
I think I got cancer from your game.
Exactly. I'm not saying it's a direct correlation. All I'm saying is I feel really bad and I'm breaking out in hives.
Cancer's not funny. Fuck
No, it's-
cancer.
I
Okay?
know, I
there we
know.
go. There, we just want to say that.
Yes.
But we were trying to make light of it because sometimes, you know,
It would be funny if you were such a bad game master, people got sick from it. That'd be kind of. That wouldn't be funny. It'd be funny to hear about. It would be funny to be part of.
well, that would be a. Well, let me tell you. This would be at a con game after the day's done, where people are sitting around comparing
Horror stories.
Oh, hold on a second. You ever have anybody get like physically ill from your game mastering?
What?
No.
Really? Oh, let me tell you about
Let
this
me
time.
let me tell you, I have.
Wow. Man.
Still early.
It's still early.
I mean, I'm half. Well, I mean, maybe one session in, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Are there any changes you want to make to the campaign itself? Like, hey, the idea because this happens to me periodically. I'm like, this is a really cool idea, and I get in there and the characters start rocking. I'm like, they care about this MacGuffin much more than they do the thing that I laid out for them on the silver platter. They really love this thing. It's like the side quest becomes the quest.
right.
Or something along those lines. Hey, are you looking at the campaign saying, I'm going to rework this whole fucking thing, or I'm going to tweak it or anything like that?
Not yet.
Okay.
I can't see that happening. I think Star Wars can. I mean, you guys went off the freaking rails,
Yeah.
but you know, if I define the box pretty rigidly. I mean, if I uphold my reputation, there should be no bullshitting around, Brett.
I'm sorry. What does your ticket say? Your ticket says Alderaan one way.
One-way ticket to all.
And it says
One-way
MF on the
ticket-
bottom.
Got one-way ticket to Alderaan. Pack your bags. We leave tonight.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So seriously,
you-
are you at a
well-
point where you're like, you're not going to change it? You don't see any need?
Dude, I don't see it right now, but it's inevitable that one of these yahoos is they're gonna go in a direction, and then everybody's gonna go, "Hey, that sounds great," and I'll be like, "No, it's not that way to Alderaan."
I see. How's the other one going? The Tomb of Annihilation still on track, or do you need to make some adjustments? Did you possibly flub up a rule or something that you need to retcon answers for?
I did F up. I think the only one out of the group that listens to this show is Joe.
Okay.
And I can confide in Joe. Joe's the guy who was like, "Hey, silent spell." Right? He's the one that's like, "Hey, silent spell." Oh, that's right, Joe. You get a point of inspiration.
Yeah, good man.
So, and I'm surprised one of the audience hasn't written in and said, "Dude, that shouldn't even have been able to take place." And what I'm talking about is and they probably haven't listened to the episode yet. On the last episode, I was talking about the Tomb of Annihilation, where I nailed a character and killed him. And one of the other players,
every game master's dream, really.
that's right. Well, they got 10 people, and I let everybody create up to 2 characters apiece because I knew I was going to kill at least, maybe, hopefully half of them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, I've been letting myself down, but I nailed one.
We have been sick. You have been sick.
I've been feeling under the weather, right?
That's what it is.
I got all kinds of excuses.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the guys I killed, and then one of the clerics of the party used Revivify.
As you do.
And Tomb of Annihilation, one of the main sticking points is that you do, and this is the reason why I had him do 10 characters, is because those spells aren't supposed to work.
A lot of that stuff.
Resurrection and Revivify doesn't work because of the the curse.
Yep.
That's the whole premise of the campaign. The whole premise of the campaign, and the game master, Knucklehead Sean, completely forgets it. So, of course, revivify. Oh, you lived. Oh, okay. Well, now I'm going to go back and adjust that.
Okay.
No retconning.
Just a little adjustment, a little tweak.
Little tweak. Little character just doesn't feel right after coming back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might not be. Might have
Might
a little
feel weak.
skin. Might have a little leprous look to it.
Yeah, maybe getting a little gray.
Yeah.
Wound's not healing up right.
Even though you cast a healing spell on me, it might just kind of
That doesn't
not even take.
doesn't the whole you just don't
Okay.
feel like the potion was all it wasn't all Gatorade.
Just don't feel like drinking or eating either. When's the last time you ate anyway? You don't
Yeah.
even remember eating.
Wow.
I haven't touched your rations in a week.
Subtract point of con.
God damn it.
Why? I don't know, man. It's crazy.
It's like you're under some sort of curse.
But I'm telling you, once that starts happening, they will put it together.
Yeah. I get it. Okay.
Because if they don't, why the hell are they in the jungle?
yeah.
I forgot why they're in the jungle looking for something.
Oh yeah. That'll come
Just
around.
like the freaking stupid dungeon master.
In my excuse me, in mine, I had the guys went into a dwarven mine. They found a secret entrance that they thought was going to be kind of a backdoor way in. Hey, this would be awesome. It turns out that leads to a different chunk of dwarven ruins that also happened to connect to the mine. They were not the same. So they went to the hardest part of the dungeon first.
Yay!
They got the ever-living crap beat out of them.
Yay!
Fear, running away, all sorts of insanity. So almost insanity. So lots of running away, and oh my God, can we make it? Can we not? And it's funny. Two of my
Did they
players,
all live? Did they all live?
Barely.
So you not had a few down?
Oh yeah, I had
See,
more than a
that's
few
the
down.
best. You got to get a few down. Like, they can live, but they got to be afraid of, like, oh my God, if the freaking cleric doesn't come over here, I'm going to die.
Yeah, and it was wonderful because both of the clerics, Zave and Beta's characters, I was able to split apart through the combat, so they couldn't. With Pathfinder, you've got like the whoom, you've got the big like area effect healing. They couldn't reach everybody.
Yeah.
So my slot would like lob a fireball and wham, take out the ranger. Alpha's like, fuck, ranger down, wham. Shit, I gotta go 10 feet back that way to help you. And it was they wanted to use, as I said before, they wanted to use the grid. So we're using the grid.
Right.
And well, can't I just know the rule is this? And it was really nice. I had a number of players go, hey, you occupy a 5 foot square. That's how it is. You can't lean in, you can't lean out. You occupy the square. That's how that works. So it was really cool. And it was the other thing that was very fun with that was when this huge pack of dwarven ghouls took down Beta's character, and they paralyzed him. And they started dragging him over to this huge ziggurat thing, and like, oh my God, they're gonna make him part of the ziggurat. And he's like, yep, nothing I can do about it. So like the whole fight had to stop, and they had to figure out: do we heal the ranger? Do I go save the priest? How do I do? So it was very nice and wonderfully chaotic. But in the middle of it, I almost forgot some of the cool things, like the clues, like, oh yeah, you have to figure out if they're there and there's a ziggurat, if they figure out what the hell this thing is, or pick up the clues on it. I almost forgot a couple of key descriptors of like what was happening and why the bad guys, the dark dwarves, were there, and why this was happening, why that was happening. Without the descriptors, I finally had to stop and say, okay, hang on a second. Before we go any farther, we just had the surprise round. Let me tell you this stuff. And they went, oh, this is bad. They're taking dead bodies and feeding into this thing. Oh, okay, we got to go deal with that. If we'd have just gotten right into the fight, I was I think I was fortunate because I was able to kind of put the brakes on and keep the characters focused on the right stuff. And so I wouldn't have to retcon everything because I knew what would happen if a piece of me went, fine, just describe it to him after the fight. If I did that, what I knew would happen is something bad would occur during the fight. And then I'd say, well, they take the body and throw it in the ziggurat and it disappears forever. Oh, I didn't know they were feeding it bodies. Oh, if you'd have told me that, the whole fight would have been different. I'm not going to have that argument. I've had that argument before.
Yes, of
I've had that
course.
argument with this group before. I'm never having that argument again if I can help it. I almost did a thing when I saw the argument coming in. No, fuck that. I'm going to stop it right now. hang on a second, powers invested me in Game Master, so we'll stop time and reality, explain this to you, and we'll go right back to regularly scheduled combat.
Oh.
Yeah. And it set the stage, and then the stakes went up, and it was great, but it was almost a piece where I'm like, man, this could, if I hadn't done that, I could have fucked up the whole campaign, second session. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know it was doing that. Oh, that plays into this other thing we learned.
I would have done it differently if I'd known that piece.
Yeah, yeah.
And legitimately so.
True.
Absolutely legitimate.
Well, you got to tell them what they're seeing, and
Exactly.
I think it's something we have to keep in mind. That it's like, oh, they're seeing that now, somewhat beyond the surprise round.
Yeah, and there is, when you're putting minis out, you're moving things around, making sure all the tactics are there. You don't get distracted by the fact that you do have to use some theater of mind stuff, because it's just a drawing on a grid. It's just dry erase marker on a grid. You need to have that stuff. So. Kind of dodged a bullet on that one. Let's see here. I was going to say how on the Star Wars one, talked about that a little bit. Anything else that you got that you want to yammer about?
No, not on that one. That one just has to be played.
Speaking of having to do things kind of on the fly, my buddy Nick, he was there, he was playing, and at one point I looked at him and said, Nick, are you doing all right? He goes, I don't know, I don't feel that good. I gotta run to the bathroom.
You're the game master that made the players sick.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going with this. He comes back downstairs and I'm like, you okay? He goes, I'm like, you just threw up, didn't you? He goes, I feel terrible. So I drove him there, because I'm crashing at his place while I'm up in my hometown. So we get him back home. He's like, I'm really sorry you drove all this way again. I'm like, Nick, dude, you feel like shit. You look like hell. Go to bed.
Yeah.
So it stopped the session early, because a couple pieces of information they found are very pertinent to Nick's character. And Nick is there 99.99% of the time for the game.
Gotcha.
And we started at noon. We ended up quitting about 8 o'clock, which wasn't that bad, but normally we go to about 10. So I'm like, okay, he's at the end of the world a couple hours early, but we paced a lot of things slower after Nick left. Excuse me. There's a lot more time spent. Search this room, look for that. So it was a lot more kind of sneaky pokey look aroundy than they may have previously. They may have, with Nick there, busted through some things and went into a couple newer sections of the dungeon that they hadn't gone to, but instead they forego doing those things because they want to wait for Nick to be there. And after the big fight, having kind of calmed down, Lenny looked at me and said, I don't mean to quit. He said, because we're doing pretty good. He said, but why don't we just wait till Nick can make it? And we all said, good call. Let's wrap it up for the night. To punish them for wrapping it up early, I refused to let them level, which made me feel nice. That was fun. But no, it was kind of one of those things where I think that's a piece that you learn over time, or you try to learn over time, is if you find a good stopping point, you don't have to play. You've got a 4-hour slot for you and your buddies to play, and you're going along and they're just kicking ass. You look at them and go, hey, you know what? Mallory's done. We can't play anymore. How about we call it here? It's a good spot to stop. And I've had a lot of men and women I've gamed with over the years say, yep, this is a good place. Yeah, we really, I don't even know what to do. Oh, so many clues. Oh, so much stuff. And take a break. So I think I'm proud of myself because I have in the past tried to push past that and say, no, we were going to play till 10. I want to keep going. The next couple hours. Come on, really? What am I going to do in 2 hours? If it's a good spot, it's a good spot. Wrap it up.
Yeah, I think my group at Doom Annihilation, I tell them ahead of time, like, hey, I got a hard stop at 5 or 6, or hey, I'm thinking about 5 or 6, we're going to bolt. And then I'm gauging it, and then usually there's a good time to end. And I think those guys would they wouldn't look at their watches, they would just be like, oh, okay.
That's kind of a good feeling though when you say like, hey, this is a really good spot, and everyone goes, yeah, I guess so. What time is it anyway?
Yeah.
I love that question because that means nobody fucking cared. No one was looking at their phone.
Right.
No one was checking the clock. They all just wanted to keep going and like, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock already? Holy shit, yeah, we got to get going.
Now with Star Wars guys, it's like, hey man, it's like, what time is it? Time to go.
Really?
No. But it's something I got to be more conscious with because it's a smaller block and we're doing it at the ass crack of dawn on Saturdays.
Oh.
So, get up I don't want to burn their day.
No, I hear you. When I game with I'm running a new Avalon campaign for the Wednesday evening group, and Sneezak has different shift hours than he's had previously. So we game for a more compressed period of time because he's got to get on the road to work.
Yeah.
By like 10 or 10:30 or whatever it is. So we go, start at 7, push hard for 3 hours, and then cut it and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kind of, which is a little bit different for me because I'm not used to that tight of a time constraint, but it's an interesting component of it. And I think that may be more normal in online play than anything else because you schedule it. And I don't know. The only reason I say that is because I've never played a game in person where the bulk of the people would be like, yeah, I have a hard stop at this time. I don't get that normally in person. And maybe and that could just be because the people I play with in person.
That's because you guys are doing the marathon games.
Yeah, when you meet once a month, it's a little bit easier. Yeah, that's a good point.
And you probably have the one or two that do that, or used to more so, but their life situations have changed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, things have shifted a little bit.
I mean,
scheduling is honestly the most. If this hobby has a thing that kind of just grinds on you, it's the scheduling component.
There's just no. Here's the problem, Brett.
You're playing too many games. You should settle for one campaign.
No,
one group of players
that's
only.
That's not the problem either.
You're just greedy, Sean.
No, that's not the problem.
That's not the problem.
The problem is everything else in life. That's the problem.
Stop doing everything else.
That's
people.
right.
That's the plan.
If we didn't have to pay our mortgages and rent and buy our food and go to work, come on. I mean, think about it, man. 13 years old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is why we played all the time.
I went to McDonald's today. Don't tell anybody. It's bad for you.
I heard about that.
And I was standing in line. I said this on the last time. People are going to think I'm eating quarter pounders every day.
Probably.
I don't.
Every other.
They're good every once in a while. But there were some kids in front of me, and they were probably from the local high school. They couldn't have been more than 14, 15 maybe. And I'm like, man, you guys got it going on. They're here at McDonald's. They're going to go back to school. None of them work. Probably spending mom and dad probably gave them credit cards to buy their shit, to buy their food.
They might.
And I'm like, man, you guys need to go home and game.
Do something. All right.
That's what happens when I'm going to be 80, Brett. It's going to come full circle.
That's my buddies. You and I have talked about this. It's like the old gamers home, right? I want to, at some point, one of my goals, believe it or not, is that when I retire, I want to make sure I retire near my friends because all of my good friends are gamers. It's a thing that when your knee goes out, you can't climb mountains anymore, you can't go hunting, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can game.
Yeah, you can get
if I can get my ass to a table,
you can get one of your kids to drive you over there.
Goddamn right.
And they can
little jerks. I can do something for their old man.
Get your walker out of your trunk.
Yeah.
And then escort you up to the door, sit you down at the table.
I'll be back at 6, Dad. What?
Then you might have that hard stop again.
Yeah, I know.
Just say, hey, I'm going to crash here.
Exactly. Aaron? Oh, Dad, what? Bring my meds. You can't leave yet.
Forgot the
Dragon's
meds.
not dead.
Yeah, I got to remember the meds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll pick you up and wheel your ass home and go to sleep and then do it all again the next day.
The problem is if we do end up like in a gamer's old folks home, they won't be able to tell how many of us are actually like have dementia or any real serious issue because we'll all be talking about fantastical things that aren't really fucking happening.
Right.
And we'll be arguing about shit that didn't really happen or actually did happen but kind of didn't. The one rules thing everyone kind of sort of remembers, but again, about a make-believe thing. God help our healthcare professionals at that point, man.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right. Anyway, I think that's about it. Let's move on. Die roll it up, man.
Right. Die roll. So I got a few this week. I want to point out Avray. So for those that are Discord savvy, I thought this was pretty cool. It was Avray. I found it. Somebody installed it. It's a bot that allows you to play D&D on Discord. So it does die rolls and calculates modifiers. And I think it can parse character sheets that are either done in Google Docs or something else.
Are you serious?
I don't know how it exactly works and how you install it. I imagine it's some type of add-in.
It's AI. I don't like it.
Well, it's not that type of bot, Brett, but I understand your
right.
concern.
Yeah, I have a concern.
So if you are using that thing and you can elaborate to us on what it really does and if you've used it and how cool it is, or maybe not so cool, let us know. I'd be interested to hear about it. Sly Flourish, a.k.a. Mike Shea, does a video demonstrating his Lazy DM game prep for his Dragon Heist game on YouTube.
Oh, very cool.
I thought that was kind of cool, and so I put a link up there. And then Ken Hite came across the radar. He put out 3 guns on Pelgrim Presses. So on Pelgrim Press, Ken and Robin will write articles, and Ken put something out about 3 guns that you can use in your Fallout Delta Green or your Call of Cthulhu games. Not Call of, Trail of Cthulhu, because they do Trail of Cthulhu.
Oh,
yeah.
This is for Fall Delta Green for sure.
Yeah, and Ken's a big history buff, so he just gets into all this stuff, and
Yep.
he tells you, like, for close combat, use the 44 snub nose revolver, and if you need something heavy firepower, I think he's got a machine gun in there.
Yeah, he's got the Swedish K and then the
Yeah.
the GE M134 minigun.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then I didn't put I'll put a link in the show notes. It's the Critical Role animated thing, and if you know about this, you're part of the majority, because those suckers, they had an animation. There's an animation company that I forgot the cartoon that they do that's pretty popular, but they put up a Kickstarter it funded in an hour. They like $1 million, and they're up to like 2.1. I'll put a link in the show notes. I'm just like flabbergasted, man.
Legends of Vox Machina animated special. Let's
Yeah.
see here.
Yeah,
that's
it's nuts.
the one. They had a goal of 750,000. They're at $3,402,854.
Man,
Oh, if you look at it right now, it's like watching. I think
people
Alex
counter.
Cameron said it's like watching people count. It just went up. Well, I just sitting here. They have over. Oh, it just went up again. I'm not kidding you. This is now 25,072 backers.
So the Critical Role fans out there, good on you, man, because that is some crazy fandom there.
That is
They love some Matt Mercer or something. I don't know.
that is cool. And honestly, it's cool. It's there's a weird thing. We've talked about this a little bit. There is bizarre. Oh my god! I just went up again.
Yes, Brett. And if you keep looking at it, it's
will
going to
just
keep
go
going
crazy.
up again.
I'm going away from it.
Yeah.
There are odd people who backlash against popularity of anything. It's like the I liked it when it wasn't popular. I liked that band before they got popular. You know why it's popular, asshole? Because you told everybody about Pearl Jam, and that's why everybody started listening to them. That's why.
Freezer on the concrete.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I was a kid,
Hammer.
stop it.
Sorry.
When I was a kid, I would have like killed to have this level of gaming, Dungeons and Dragons stuff available to me. It was like scrounging to find it.
We're going to be beating up jocks.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be awesome. No, seriously, this is
Your football game is dumb as hell. Boom, into the locker.
Well,
Here.
Jesus, I can play the NFL my ass. I'm a Critical Role, bitch.
I'm going to stamp a D20 into your forehead.
All jokes aside, though, it is neat. It's cool. Will it last? I don't know. Whatever. Bubbles burst. I don't know. I don't care. It's really cool. And for the people who love that stuff, hey, more power to you. I am glad there are people creating really cool content that kicks ass like this. That people who enjoy the hobby, you and I all do, is just awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, super cool, man. I would have never thought in the world ever
No.
that people not only want to see other people playing D&D, but they would actually pay to see people play D&D.
Ken Hite
And
once
that-
said, if you would have asked me 20 years ago, will gaming be so popular that you could have somebody walk across a convention center and stop traffic? He just said, what? Whatever. And he said, I saw that happen to Matt Mercer walking across Convention Hall. He stopped most of the convention hall as soon as people realized who he was.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I
and
say
cool.
crazy as in crazy times.
Yeah.
Crazy good.
That's neat, man.
So
All right, let's move on.
I just need flowing locks like Matt. That's the deal. I got the wrong do.
I know you're too up. You gotta go down, man.
Yeah, I gotta go flowy. Like
sometimes
when
you
the
gotta
wind
gotta
hits
get
it.
down to go up.
Is that a song?
Yeah, you gotta get down to get up, man. Sometimes you
get
gotta get
down
up
to
to
get
get
up.
down, and sometimes you just gotta get it on. Check your P-Funk, man.
Oh, P-Funk?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
it's funk, man. Anyway,
I got psychedelic funk, right?
yeah.
I haven't listened to George in a while.
Sometimes you gotta get down up. Sometimes you gotta get down. To
Oh,
get up.
that's right. Now I know it.
yeah?
Yeah. Hey. Okay.
All right.
We better
Moving
get
on.
out of here.
All right.
All right. This one's in the can. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night and good game and all.
This episode of Gaming in BS brought to you with the help from the following BSers: Graham Miner, Corey Wynn, Andy Hall, Hawk Sparrow, Larry Hout, Mark Tasaka, Pure Mongrel, CW Mellencamp, Chris Steele, Ron Bishop, Thomas Hook, Wayne Humfleet, Craig, Brandon Barnes, Laramie Wall, Dan LaValle, Jason Hobbs, Sky, Roger Braslett, John Hammersley, Old School DM, Perry Besor, Michael Dinos, Jim Fitzpatrick, Christopher Gray, Bruce Cunnington, John Coward, Corey Gonzalez, Eileen Barnes, Robert Nemeth, Maurice, Niall Diamond, Angus, Howard Bishop, Stefan Dragonspawn, Mark Anthony Benedetti, Eric Salzwedel, Trevor Davis, The Closet Gamer, Jeff Goad, Chad Glayman, Finolf, Merkel Froelich, Lord Tentacle, Joe Swick, Curtis Takahashi, Josh Wallace, Kevin Lovecraft, Andy Olson, and Tony Sugarloaf Baker. For ways to support the show, head over to gamingnbs.com/support-us. Thanks, BSers!
This has been a Litterbox Studio production.
Gaming in BS, episode 232. Being recorded on GM's Day, March 4th, 2019. God damn it. I really got to mark that button better.